Yeah, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far. If you guys have, you guys know what to do. Smash that like button. And let's get into the episode. So, we've been having several power issues over the last several episodes. Most notably, what we had was not working, so we have since scaled up. Or at least we're in the process of scaling up. So just to kind of go through the changes I've made, is we're essentially designing, I don't think I have my note card for it, we're essentially designing a V10, I think how many that is, and to explain what that looks like is, in the simplest, oh, we don't have any jetpack fuel, no, okay, well, let's try to get out of the water. To explain that in the simplest terms, each cylinder of our V10 has 6 generators in it, each capable of generating 250 megawatts. So each cylinder can generate 1500 megawatts, right? So 250 times 6, 1500, right? We have 10 whole cylinders, so that means we can generate 15,000 megawatts of power. Now, if we look at our consumption ratings here, we have effectively a max consumption of about 12,000, which would be less than what we're able to potentially generate. Our current consumption, our idle consumption, I should say, is about 1,000 to 2,000 megawatts. However, notice we're producing 4,000 megawatts, which is significantly more than we're currently consuming. So we are, in fact, wasting fuel. So what we need to do is we need to have a system in place so that if this is running, or all of it is running, we store that. And that's what we're going to do down here, is we're going to put underneath of this all of these batteries, which should soak up a lot of that energy, a lot of that excess energy. Now, we already have these guys, but these guys are full, right? These guys are 100% tapped out. So we need to figure out a way, a system, so to speak, that allows us to either dynamically turn off using valves, or other ways of being able to monitor it. Now, I don't know how we're going to be able to do it. I don't even know if it's even possible. But what I'm thinking is we'll probably have a control room that is able to shut off fuel. So these are our 2 main fuel lines. Each of the Mark IIs can supply 600 fuel per minute. And 600 fuel is able to supply 5 things of fuel stuffs. Because each of these consumes, doesn't actually say how much it consumes. I think each of them consumes about 60? I don't know, those ones are working, but I don't know how much they consume, and I don't know how the ladder, ooh, actually, the ladder's here. Let's see if we can get up here. There we go. Each one of these is consuming 20 per minute, so 2 times... Oh, actually, our math might be off. 2, 4, 6, 10, 12. No, our math's not off. Nope, our math's fine. Alright. Yeah, so one cylinder basically consumes 120 per minute. The reason right here we have to do these is because each of these, unfortunately, is limited to 300, so we have to split the 600 into 2 300s and then merge them back together. And then we have to throw on. But what's nice is each one of these is able to do a head lift. We'll actually have to... Ooh. That's actually not good. That maxes out the head lift. Like, just barely. It's probably fine. If it turns into a problem, we can push it up a little bit. But otherwise, it should be fine. So, well, actually, the one on the right won't have an issue. It's a much lower lift. But this guy goes all the way up, goes into here. It flows into both for storage. And then it flows out and in. Just so that way, each cylinder has a local storage of fuel. Just so that way, if something happens, we do have some stockpiled. And then we are going to stockpile some fuel on this side of it as well. So before it goes into those. We are going to have to scale up our fuel production because we don't have enough to support all of these cylinders. However, before we do any of that, we need to get more jetpack fuel. So, what I'm thinking we're going to work on today is setting up a packager in order to get the fuel we need. We, however, need plastic. But thankfully we have plastic here locally. And then this is pretty much what we've been working on this week, is getting this set up. Oh, you're rubber. I'm like, please tell me we have plastic. Because that would suck if we don't have plastic. Okay. For now, we're going to use this little section right here as a bit of a testing area, so to speak. So this here is a packager, and as you can see, a lot of different recipes. We can pack things in to containers. So oil, residue, biofuel, or packaged fuel. Packaged fuel, I think, is better than biofuel. So we're going to throw some of that in there. So we need to hook up some fuel. We then need to hook up some canisters. How does one make canisters? Empty canister is plastic. And then organization, let's go ahead and do a container. My only question, can we put packaged fuel in the network using dimensional depots, and would it pull into our inventory automatically? I don't know. I'm also interested if we can set the system up. I want to figure out a way to automate this so that we only burn the fuel we need to burn, but I don't know if that's possible in vanilla. If it is, let me know. If not, I mean, I'm going to look into it and see if I can figure it out myself. We're going to see. Does this have any better or worse rating? It says it prefers packaged liquid biofuel. Is biofuel a better... A 750 megajoules. They have the same used as is to generate power. I don't know if it's more efficient. Like, I feel like the packaged fuel burns faster, but I feel like it works. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this stuff we basically have infinite of, so I'm not gonna complain. Alright, so we have this guy set up, which is more than enough power for now, right? And we are gonna continue expanding this segment out as best we can. Then I started kind of adding some flair to it with just the different architecture pieces that we have. So there's kind of like this railing, and still lets you see over the edge, but it also kind of sets us up if we want to go higher, if we want more floors to this. We can add them. Let's turn Zoop on. And I made it high enough so that the smoke basically gets trapped into the concrete. Which I think is absolutely hilarious. Well, something like that. And then this week is actually going to be a little bit more hectic for me in terms of time for doing things. Just because spring break is coming up, which will be nice because I'll be able to make some more progress in this and in Factorio. However, with that, it also comes the caveat of my goal is to not have any like schoolwork I need to do over spring break, but in order for that to happen, we have to kind of grind a bunch of stuff out this week, which kind of sucks, unfortunately, because it means we basically get screwed a little bit in terms of free time. So don't expect too much progress to get made this week. In terms of some things. Looks like that's about all we're going to be able to fit in here. We do need to get more concrete and stuff. So let's get this guy placed. Thankfully, though, this should be enough power for a while. And again, this is assuming the factory's at full operation all the time. We'll be able to produce 15,000 fuel, or not 15,000 fuel, we'll be able to produce 15,000 megawatts of energy with this, which should be sufficient for hopefully until we get nuclear. I don't know when that is, though. I think we need to complete phase 3. However, we've been working on slowly upgrading the smeltery to be able to smelt more ingots, and we're working on getting the trains going. So we are definitely in that process, and it looks like I calculated a bit short by a few cylinders. Okay, let's go grab... No! Oh, I thought we were going to be able to make it all the way up. I feel like it had... packaged fuel has more vertical lift than the packaged biofuel. I don't know if that's true or not, because it didn't seem to indicate that as part of the item's description. It just says, packaged fuel can be used as fuel. Yeah, it has the same energy value, but I don't know if that also means it has if there's a different value for lift, like lift acceleration, if that makes sense, because like solid fuel doesn't really have very good lift, so you burn it pretty quickly just trying to go vertically. However, it does, I think, have a slow burn time, if that makes sense. Because, like, this guy burns pretty quickly and gives us a lot of lift. So I'm not sure. If somebody knows, let me know. Because I'm curious to see if it is or is not what I'm thinking. think we go to there, right? Looks right. Also, one of my goals for spring break, as funny as it sounds, is I really want to rewatch some shows from my childhood. Like Pokemon or Digimon or something over spring break. I think part of it is I don't think I've ever watched like every not every version of the show, but just like every season that's out there. Some of the new ones are interesting. Because for a while, what I was doing is I was watching Supernatural every spring break. However, since they've grown now to, I think it's 15 seasons or something, it is quite difficult in order to do that. That is like 2 weeks of non-stop watching. Because each episode's about an hour, give or take. I can't watch it all in one week anymore. I used to, when there was only about 7 seasons. But it has grown a little unruly. Still, I think one of my favorite shows of all time. I really wish they continued it. However, I don't think it would be good for the longevity of the show. Which is one thing that I hate, but I understand. It's the same thing with video games, when it's like, when's enough, right? Like, sure, as much as you want that thing to go on forever, it really can't. Not in a good state, at least. Like, all good things must come to an end, including good shows or good games. At some point, they will run out of good ideas, and then it just kind of turns into a shit show, and then nobody likes it, and then it's just like, kind of taints the memory of, wow, this used to be such a good game. Like, there's not really too many games where I can legitimately go, you know, this game used to be so good, and then they ruined it. It usually just turns into, wow, this game is so bad now. Like, I mean, I guess it's the same sentiment, you know, but it's like, I feel like a lot of people don't think of it in the sense of like, you know, this game was so good here, but then they did X to ruin it. They should just go back to what they had before. I feel like a lot of the times, once a game or show goes sour, it just stays that way in a lot of people's minds, and it doesn't really get better. It just isn't great anymore, and it kind of sucks. Oh, we're gonna be short, like, we're short 1. That's crazy. Well, at least we got all these placed. We do have to go back through and plumb everything up and pipe everything together. Actually, I did not think that one through. I think we have to redo this piping entirely because we need to connect to those. I think what we'll do is we'll use the 4 connection. The right connection will continue down. This connection will go in. Or we drop it all down a little bit. We make the middle where it connects that way. And then the top section connects to that one, bottom connection connects to that one, right keeps going right, left connects to the previous one. I like that idea. Because otherwise we have to go up and down, which, actually, would that be a bad idea? Because there is a little bit of a downward pitch, so it does flow this way, but then we'd have to pump it up to go here, pump it up to go here, pump it up. That could slow it down, I think. Alright. How much time? We're about out of time. Well, let's just redesign this one really quick, just so we can see what it looks like. Yeah. Okay, so we have 4, so we'll put it logistics. Well, not quite like that. No, we want it to rotate. I don't think there's a way I can rotate it the other way without having... Yeah, we don't want it at this height. Let's try this height. Yeah, so we go something like that, something like that. Yeah. And then we can delete this guy, and then that guy can be Mark 1. That guy can be Mark 1. That guy can be Mark 2. It still gives us that downward pitch we want. And then this guy can, yeah, be something like that. So that's basically what I'm thinking, is, so the fuel, there's no fuel in that line, but the fuel would basically come in, get pumped up at a higher level, so then it should all downward flow. And then this guy is at the same height as this, so it shouldn't be too much of a stretch for it to go into that. However, we might need a pump like in between each cell, basically, so we'll have to probably have a pump here, a pump there, there, and there, just so that to make sure it can actually get into that top tank. It's not needed, the top tank, we only really need the bottom one. However, I figure just having enough of a storage for each cell. We are still going to have to figure out how to set everything up so that way things get controlled. As the factory grows, and once we are consuming 15,000 megawatts of power, it shouldn't be a problem. But I think in the short term, we need to figure out how do we balance it, so that way we're not just consuming power. Because right now we're burning extra fuel that we don't need to be burning. However, you could also view it as, well, it doesn't really matter, because all this production is coming from oil that you're generating, which is turning into fuel, which is just getting burned, so it's self-sufficient, so it doesn't really matter, infinite resources, but it just feels wasteful to be wasting about 2,000 megawatts of power. But let me know down in the comment section below, do you guys, when you're building your factory, do you try to capture all the energy that you're producing, or do you just go about your day and go, eh? Because, like, I want to have, I mean, we're probably still going to need this down here anyway. The reason I say we're probably going to need it is if there is a sudden demand for power, like double our power, we'll have some extra down below to hopefully kickstart the whole thing, which is what that idea is. It is excess. I think what we'll also do is we might keep some of these older ones down here as a sort of backup. So we'll have the main energy cell down here, and then we'll have like a little kind of alternator thing going over there, which is kind of what we already have. We'll have to rework some of it. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of maintenance / power stuffs. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. And I'll see you guys later.